This is the Scorecard, where you score the latest sports news and in-depth views. I'm Anton Roxas. On the Scorecard tonight, Venus Williams returns to Auckland Classic at 45. The legend still isn't done. Filipina racer Bianca Bustamante speaks out on mental health, and Emman Atienza. Philippines moves to form Southeast Asian power bid for 2036 Olympics. Clippers owner Steve Ballmer sued over alleged secret pay channel to Kawhi Leonard. Investors claim off-the-books deal. In the NBA, the Bulls shocked the Sixers 113-111. Vucevic corner triple completes 24-point roarback for East lead. And Gil McGregor, NBA host and content creator, joins us via Zoom all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina. All the headlines and more on the Scorecard tonight, the 5th of November. Now, here's our roundup. Venus Williams, a 7-time Grand Slam champion and one of the true titans of the sport, is making her way back to the Auckland Classic this January at age 45. The tennis icon has been granted a wild card for the Australian Open lead-up event set for January 5 to 11. Venus made her return to the tour only in August at the US Open after a 16-month absence, and now she's ready to compete once more. Tournament director Nicholas Lamperin praising her impact beyond the court, saying her influence on women's tennis continues to shape the next generation. Venus won the Auckland Classic back in 2015, toppling Caroline Wozniacki for the title. Her career speaks in championship language: 5 Wimbledon singles titles, 2 US Open crowns, an Olympic gold from Sydney 2000, a resume few can ever touch. Lamperin said it best: "It is a privilege to watch her play." 4-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka is also set to play in Auckland, setting the stage for a blockbuster opening week of the season. The Australian Open begins January 18 in Melbourne. Filipina racing driver Bianca Bustamante speaks out on the pressures of social media, mental health, and the recent loss of Emman Atienza, daughter of TV personality Gil Atienza. She says she feels deep empathy for young Filipinos facing similar struggles. Bustamante said that now is the time to talk about mental health, and she sent her condolences to the Atienza family. She added that she understands the struggles of receiving hate that sometimes feels undeserved, noting that all young people trying to show who they are, what they love, and what they do face this challenge. In her quest to reach Formula One, the 20-year-old knows how hard it is to put herself out there. Social media is part of her career and sometimes brings criticism and negativity. Bustamante shares her racing journey online, from race weekends to off-season training. But behind the posts lie her daily battles with mental health. After a challenging season in the GB3 Championship with Elite Motorsport, she leans on her support system and takes control of her emotions. Bustamante described her mental health struggles as a silent battle. But one of her proudest moments this year was learning when to step back and realizing that control is always her own. She added that as people grow and find themselves, a strong support system, even far from home, can make them feel grounded and strong. Bustamante channels her energy on the track to stay focused. "Depression can't hit a moving target," she said, "and the trick is to keep going, keep moving, keep showing up for the team and the sport." Bustamante finished her first year in the GB3 Championship 22nd in the standings, scoring 75 points across 24 rounds. She also finished 3rd in the women's test of Formula E driving for Cupra Hero. The Philippines is now exploring a first-ever Southeast Asian joint bid to host the 2036 Summer Olympics, a regional dream now officially set in motion. PSC Chairman Patrick Gregorio confirmed that talks with Indonesia have begun, sparking what could be a landmark push for the biggest stage in global sport. Gregorio noted that winning the bid may be a long shot, but emphasized that great campaigns always begin with courage. Bidding is step 1, winning comes after. Kaya dun muna tayo sa pag-akpat ng panaginip, he said. What matters is we start. The Philippines has proven it can share global hosting duties after co-hosting the 2023 FIBA World Cup with Indonesia and Japan. The country also continues to stack major world events, including the 2025 FIVB Men's World Championship, the Junior World Artistic Gymnastics Worlds, and the inaugural FIFA Women's Futsal World Cup. Moving on to football, Liverpool delivered a statement night under the Anfield lights as Alexis Mac Allister's second-half header lifted the Reds to a 1-0 victory over Real Madrid, handing the La Liga leaders their first defeat in this season's Champions League. The match was tight, intense, and full of European heavyweight tension. Liverpool, coming off the end of a 4-game Premier League skid, played with renewed aggression and purpose from the opening whistle, dominating, rising above the defense to guide the ball past Thibaut Courtois and send Anfield surging into full voice. The atmosphere carried extra weight with Trent Alexander-Arnold making his return to Anfield in a Real Madrid shirt. The former Liverpool message from Liverpool was undeniable. On the big nights, under these lights, Anfield still changes everything. Los Angeles Clippers owner Steve Ballmer is now at the center of a lawsuit filed by 11 former investors alleging he helped secretly channel millions of dollars to Kawhi Leonard through the sustainability company Aspiration, now known as Katona, in an effort to keep Leonard with the Clippers beyond what the NBA salary cap allows. The lawsuit claims Ballmer and company co-founder Joseph Sandberg used Aspiration as a backdoor pipeline, providing Leonard with a multi-year no-show role worth up to $28 million, as long as Leonard continued playing for the Clippers. Plaintiffs argue that without Ballmer's support, the alleged scheme could not have been sustained. They say investors were misled and that the company collapsed into bankruptcy while the secret pay arrangement continued. Ballmer has denied any wrongdoing, stating he was the one who was conned and that he had no knowledge of any plan to compensate Leonard outside of league rules. The NBA is currently investigating, with penalties possibly including multi-million-dollar fines, loss of draft picks, or the voiding of contracts if salary cap rules were breached. Kawhi Leonard, now in his 14th NBA season, remains a central piece of the Clippers' championship hopes. As the lawsuit unfolds and the NBA continues its investigation, the fate of both the Clippers' future and their franchise star hangs in the balance. The Chicago Bulls just sent a message to the Eastern Conference, and they sent it loud. Down by 24, written off, counted out, the Bulls rallied back and snatched a thriller against the Philadelphia 76ers 113-111. Nikola Vucevic stepped into the corner and drilled the game-winning three with 3.2 seconds left and the Bulls' first and only lead of the night. The play started with Josh Giddey, who drove hard, drew defenders, and made the perfect kick to a wide-open Vucevic. Money. Philadelphia still had a look to steal it, but Quentin Grimes' final heave rattled out. The comeback stands as the second largest in Bulls history, their biggest in 5 years. Vucevic finished with 19 points and 10 rebounds. Giddey turned in another monster triple-double with 29 points, 15 rebounds, and 12 assists. Tyrese Maxey powered the Sixers with 39. Joel Embiid added 20 but was held to just 2 in the second half as Philly dropped to 5-2. With the win, the Bulls improved to 6-1 and take over the Eastern Conference Summit. And now, here's your daily dose of sports lingo. Ever heard of the term frozen rope in baseball? In baseball, a frozen rope refers to a ball hit hard and straight. A laser line drive that travels so fast and so flat, it looks like a rope stretched across the field. No high arc, no loft, just pure clean speed off the bat. It's the kind of hit that leaves fielders with no time to think, let alone react. A true sign of elite contact and power. So next time you see that ball scream across the diamond, you know what to call it. That's a frozen rope. And that's pure hitting artistry. Now it's time for our off-court buzzer. He's the man everyone relies on behind the scenes, the interpreter for Shohei Ohtani, a critical role in keeping the superstar two-way player communicating seamlessly with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And he does it all while overseeing Japanese player operations and strategy. Meet Will Ireton, known as Will the Thrill. The Filipino-American powering the team, born to a Spanish-Filipina mother and raised in Tokyo, Ireton's path crosses continents, from minor league baseball to representing the Philippines in the 2012 World Baseball Classic qualifiers, to internships with the Texas Rangers and New York Yankees before joining the Dodgers in 2016 as the translator for Kenta Maeda. From counting Maeda's bullpen pitches to hyping the clubhouse, Ireton made his presence felt. His nickname, Will the Thrill, was cemented when he dove and lunged to catch fly balls during batting practice, and he even completed a 405-pound deadlift challenge in spring training. After Maeda departed for the Minnesota Twins, Ireton moved into player development and performance roles, working with the AAA affiliate in Oklahoma City, where he applied data, technology, and analytics, scouted opponents, prepped pitching and hitting strategies, and assisted with motion capture and TrackMan technology. By 2021, he advanced to senior performance and strategy roles with the Dodgers, and today serves as director for Japanese player operations and strategy. In 2024, Ireton added another high-profile role, Ohtani's interpreter, bridging language and culture for the star player while continuing his director duties. Ireton's road to the majors is extraordinary, from Japan to Hawaii, then attending Occidental and Menlo colleges, donning the Philippine jersey in 2012, and gaining experience as acting GM of Team Philippines scouting players, organizing coaches, securing practice fields, and arranging travel. Ireton's international experience, cultural fluency, and cutting-edge analytics make him a key figure in the Dodgers' quest for excellence and beyond. He energizes the team personally, delivering pre-game green tea to manager Dave Roberts, hyping up the clubhouse, and embodying hard work, inclusivity, and teamwork. Will the Thrill is more than a nickname. It's a philosophy honoring his Filipino roots, global upbringing, and dedication to baseball, now amplified as he works with both Kenta Maeda and Shohei Ohtani, keeping the Dodgers performing at their peak. And that's our roundup for tonight, the 5th of November. Up next, NBA host and content creator Gil McGregor joins us via Zoom all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina, to talk about everything NBA. When we return right here on The Scorecard. Welcome back to The Scorecard. The NBA season is just heating up, and there is already so much to talk about. So, joining us via Zoom all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina, please welcome to The Scorecard on the Bilyonaryo News Channel, NBA host and content creator, and the host of NBA Sound System Canada, Gil McGregor. Gil, I will say good morning because it is 9:50 a.m. in Charlotte right now. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing well. Glad to be on here. Glad to be talking NBA with you. So I'm excited. I would have gotten up even earlier if I had to.
Thank you so much, Gil. To those who aren't aware, I met Gil when I was covering the NBA All-Star Game in 2019 in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we followed each other on Instagram. And now we're doing an interview on live TV here in the Philippines. Gil, thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's crazy how connections work. It's been 6 years, but you know what? We keep in touch and we keep up with each other, so it's perfect.
All right, let's get right to it. Gil, one of the biggest gambling scandals just hit the NBA and has implicated several prominent personalities, namely Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier and Portland Trail Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups. What's your reaction to what has transpired, and do you think this is a result of betting websites partnering up with major sports leagues like the NBA?
Well, obviously my first reaction is just disappointment. You know, you talk about the NBA and being fans of the game like most of us are, many of us are, and the big thing they talk about is the integrity of the game. And as fans, as people who cover the game, or wherever you fall on that spectrum, you never want the integrity of the game to be in question. And obviously it happened a few years ago with Jonte Porter. Wasn't necessarily as big of a name personally. Obviously he's Michael Porter Jr.'s brother. But now to have two prominent figures in Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups implicated in this scandal, regardless of what comes of it. And obviously you want to assume that they are innocent until proven guilty. But the fact that this is just something that's happening is very disappointing. It's disappointing that they would potentially risk their livelihood and the well-being of those around them for this. It's unfortunate that they would potentially just risk the integrity of the NBA for this. But you hope that it's not true, and you just hope that they're the only people involved if it is true. And you mentioned just kind of where we are now in this day and age, and their gambling agencies and companies involved in the NBA. Their company names are even on the courts sometimes, and it felt like it was inevitable for something like this to happen. So it's shocking, but not necessarily surprising. You hope that nothing more comes of it. You hope that there's nothing more to it. But you just have to see the way it plays out, and hopefully that there isn't any more issues or anything deeper than the surface. And maybe it's just a misunderstanding to begin with.
Gil, what do you think the solution would be for a guy like Chauncey Billups, who is one of the NBA greats, won a championship in 2004, taking down the Shaq and Kobe Lakers with the Detroit Pistons? What do you think is the solution for Billups moving forward, and how can other players and coaches not see themselves in this kind of predicament in the future?
Yeah, if he is found to have done what he did, because I know that on top of the poker thing, there is some really serious accusations that he provided some injury information about his team when they were ready and focusing on the future, or tanking, as some would call it. And if that is true, and if he and Terry Rozier actually manipulated the result of games, I mean, you have to make an example of them. You have to set the tone that this is not something that this league is going to accept. You might have to make the rules a little bit stronger. I don't necessarily think that they're going to do anything about the partnerships that they have outside of the league, but they do need to make an example of these players and coaches to make sure that, one, this does not happen anymore, and also give fans and those of us who cover the game a sense of security that this isn't something that's going on continuously. So as unfortunate as it is, if they are found guilty of what they are accused of doing, you have to make an example of them.
So I guess we have to wait and see and hope for the best, especially with Mr. Big Shot, Chauncey Billups. Moving on to more positive news, Gil. In his third year, Victor Wembanyama, obviously it was a little bit sad that his second season was cut short due to deep vein thrombosis on his right shoulder, but now he's averaging monster numbers, 26, 13, and 4.7 blocks. He's doing this as a 21-year-old, 7'4". People are now saying that Wemby, when it's all said and done, might end up as the greatest player of all time. What do you think is Wemby's ceiling, and do you think the Spurs can make a deep run in the playoffs?
It's wild to say, a few games into his third season, but I do see that. I understand why people think that he has a chance to be the greatest to ever play the game. He's 7'4", 7'5", depending on who you ask, and there's really nothing he can't do on the basketball court, right? You see him put the ball on the floor, you see him dunking on people, you see him shooting from 30 feet, you see him blocking everything around him, and more than the blocks, you see how scared people are to even try to shoot the ball around him. It's been a long time since we've seen somebody impact the game at the level that he's impacting the game. It's been a long time since we've had somebody that's that mystifying every time they step on the court. I had a friend who mentioned it's very similar to Steph Curry the year he won unanimous MVP. And the fact that he's doing this in his third season at 21 years old, and he's still really learning how to play, I do think that there really isn't a ceiling that you can put on how good he can become. Now, obviously, he has to stay healthy. Obviously, the Spurs have to win things, and he has to win some personal accolades. But at this trajectory, those things are going to happen. And you think about how good Michael Jordan was in his third season, or how good LeBron James was in his third season. And Victor Wembanyama is right on par with those guys. So based on that, he certainly has a chance to have his name mentioned with those greats when it's all said and done, but we have to let it play out first. I do see that. As far as the Spurs go, I think they can go as far as he goes. I think he's continuously improving in real time. He is a top 5, maybe a top 3 player in the NBA.
Wow.
And as we've learned in the past, when you have a top 5 or top 3 player in the league, you can achieve high heights in the postseason. I think this team, if they get the right thing shaking for them, get De'Aaron Fox back, Jeremy Sohan, get him healthy as well, because they're doing what they're doing without key players on the court. So if they can get everybody together and gel and get that team chemistry right, I could see them making it to the Western Conference Finals. I think that the Nuggets or the Thunder would probably give them too many problems in the playoffs, but if things go their way, I think their ceiling is Western Conference Finals this season, but it requires a lot of things to go in their favor.
Now, another team that we have to look at, the LA Lakers. LeBron James unable to start his 23rd season due to sciatica, but they're looking good. And Luka Doncic averaging 41.3 points per game, Gil, is this a result of all the hate, all the talk about Luka out of shape, and he got in the best shape of his life, and now it's showing?
Absolutely. You know, I think Luka Doncic is a player who, again, we've watched him play since he's been in the league, and it's wild to think how long he's been in the NBA at this point. And he's really good. He's almost impossible to guard. You see the tough shots that he makes on a nightly basis. I watched that game they played in Memphis last week, and there were guys that had hands in his face, and it did not matter. So to factor in the fact that he's lost a little weight, he's taken his body a little more serious. I think he would have been able to do this regardless, but I think that the way he's going to be able to do it throughout the course of an 82-game season, I think there's going to be less risk of injury. He's been nagged by injuries going back to the year that he led the Mavericks to the finals. So I think that it's going to help him in the long term. I also think that he's a guy who's very much motivated by outside noise. So I think now he's having an opportunity to, you know, have something to say for some of the haters, maybe some of the people who traded him away to Los Angeles. I think that's something that really did impact him. So you're seeing a man on a mission. I think he's also motivated by how the Lakers season ended early last year. So to see Luka Doncic doing what he's doing, he's providing everybody with a reminder of just how good he is. And I don't think he has any sign of slowing down anytime this season.
What about LeBron James? Obviously, 23 years, 23 seasons is a lot of time. In your mind, being out there in North America, how long or how many more seasons do you see LeBron James playing before he decides to hang it up?
You know, it's interesting because I don't think anybody thought that this season would go or start the way that it started with him on the sideline. We have never seen him start a season injured, and this is the first time in 23 years that that's the case with him. And personally, the read that I've gotten is that it's going to be this year and one more year after this year. You know, I don't think he's going to retire after this season. I do believe that, you know, people try to give him a hard time saying he won a farewell tour, which, you know, he can say what he wants about what you want about him liking attention or whatever, but ultimately, what he's done for the game, the 4 championships, the 4 MVPs, the 4 Finals MVPs, being the all-time leading scorer, I think he deserves that much. And I think fans deserve to know that it'll be his last time playing in their respective cities. And I also think that as this absence to start the season continues to grow, it's going to impact his ability to be an all-star, to be an all-NBA player. And I think that he'd like to go out on his own terms. Obviously, he wants to get back on the floor as healthy as possible. I do think the one exception is if the Lakers are somehow able to win it all this year, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit. But if he's able to end out on top, then maybe he leaves like that. But otherwise, I think he'll like to have one more season after this one just so he can get the farewell that he deserves, quite frankly.
All right, Gil, of course, we have to end our discussion talking about the #1 team in the league right now, 8-0. They just beat the Los Angeles Clippers, SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and the OKC Thunder. In the past 7 seasons, we've had a different NBA champion, and that's what makes the NBA so exciting these days. Do you think that the OKC Thunder have a chance to go back-to-back? And do you think SGA can become a back-to-back MVP the way Nikola Jokic was or became, Stephen Curry and Giannis Antetokounmpo and LeBron James? Your thoughts on that?
Well, to start with the team, Oklahoma City, I think they have a great chance to go back-to-back. And the reason I say that is because we felt the same way about the Celtics after they won last year, admittedly, and things went wrong for Boston, and that got in the way of them repeating. But when you think about this Thunder team, this is the second consecutive year that things have gone wrong for them, and it hasn't mattered. This team is 8-0 right now after a big win over the Clippers last night, who were shorthanded. But the Thunder have not had Jalen Williams all season yet. Jalen J-Dub Williams, that is. And he's dealt with the wrist injury, and thinking about him being their second All-Star, being an All-NBA player, being an All-Defensive Team performer, they're winning without him. And that speaks to the depth on that roster. That speaks to the culture that they've established there, because last year they were winning without Chet Holmgren and without Isaiah Hartenstein. So this team knows how to win. They have depth pieces. They have guys like A.J. Mitchell, who isn't necessarily a big name, but he's developed into being a very solid player off the bench for them. You know that Shai is going to get you at least 30 points every night. Isaiah Hartenstein, Chet Holmgren, Cason Wallace, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso. There's so many guys on that team, and it could be any given night one of those guys can step up, and you know that Shai is going to do what he does every night. That makes him such a scary team. When Jalen Williams gets back, that makes him even scarier. And that goes right into Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's MVP case. I think the race is going to be a heavy one this year. It's very early. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of names involved early in the season. We talked about Luka Doncic as well. A lot of it will depend on team success. But if this Thunder team is able to have a season just as good as they did last year, the amount of wins they had, I believe it was 68 last year. If they get 60-plus wins in a season that Jalen Williams misses significant time and Shea puts up similar or better numbers than he did last year, he will have just as strong of an MVP case as anybody else. And I think that could be an incentive to get MVP once again. We'll have to see what Giannis Antetokounmpo continues to do with the Bucks. We have to see what Nikola Jokic does. And Victor Wembanyama is a guy who I would consider to be in that race as well, just because of what he does on a night-to-night basis if the Spurs have a great record. But I say that to say, if the Thunder are able to win 65-plus games again, and Shea is averaging north of 32, 33 points again, I can see him going back-to-back, and I can see this Thunder team going back-to-back as well. I think their biggest threat is going to be the Denver Nuggets, but other than that, they're a great team, and they're only getting better because they're so young.
Well, on that note, Gil, I want to say thank you so much on behalf of our entire audience here in the Philippines. Thank you so much for your insights and analysis, and all the best. Stay safe there out in Charlotte.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure, and I'm really glad to do it. Hope we get a chance to do it again.
For sure. Thank you so much. Gil McGregor, all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina. Up next, two teams on a collision course. The Wolves regroup out west while the Knicks keep flexing their garden grit. Will Minnesota find their edge without Edwards? Or will New York's core turn momentum into a streak that lasts all November? We're about to find out. So stay locked in, stay ready, and as always, keep your eyes on the prize. Welcome back to the Scorecard. It's time to keep your eyes on the prize. Welcome to the Garden Pest, where the Minnesota Timberwolves bring their size, swagger, and a two-game streak into the world's loudest stage, Madison Square Garden. The Knicks are guarding a perfect 4-0 record at home. The Wolves, they've been finding their rhythm even without Anthony Edwards. But tomorrow, they face the Garden, the noise, and a red-hot Karl Anthony Towns in blue and orange. Both teams are sitting at 4-3. Mirror images in the standings, but completely different vibes. The Knicks have turned MSG into a fortress, physical defense, and the Karl Anthony Towns renaissance no one saw coming. He's fresh off a 33-point, 13-rebound masterpiece against the Wizards, his best game of the season. Meanwhile, the Timberwolves are showing how deep they actually are, even without Anthony Edwards. Julius Randle stepped up big, dropping a triple-double in his first as a Wolf. Minnesota's offense looked alive again, dropping 125 on Brooklyn while shooting 56% from the field. So let's start with that. First one, Towns versus Gobert. Just a year ago, they were battling side by side in Minnesota. Now, it's center versus center in a Garden showdown. There's history there. And maybe a little unfinished business. Then, of course, there's Jalen Brunson, the Knicks' engine. He's averaging 23-7, but he'll be tested against one of the league's best defensive units. Minnesota's size, Gobert, McDaniels, Reed, makes every drive feel like a traffic jam. And without Edwards, the Wolves' ball movement has been surprisingly crisp. Dante DiVincenzo and Jaden McDaniels have stepped up as scorers, keeping defenses guessing. The Wolves handled Brooklyn like pros. They weathered a 24-13 Nets run in the third, then slammed the door shut in the fourth with a 6-0 burst to break the game open. The Knicks, after a slow start against Washington, they detonated a 17-0 run in the third quarter and completely flipped the script for Minnesota. The X factor is Rudy Gobert. If he can control the boards, the Wolves have a shot at slowing New York's pace. For New York, it's Jordan Clarkson. His 15 off the bench gives them that instant spark when Brunson sits. The Knicks are averaging 115.8 points per game. Minnesota slightly behind at 114.3, but they make up for it with rebounding and defense. And look at the splits. Knicks 4-0 at home, Wolves 2-2 on the road. Something's got to give tomorrow. The Knicks are chasing a fifth straight win at home. The Timberwolves are fighting to prove that they can win without the Ant-Man. Woo! So stay locked in as the NBA rolls into the Garden. And here's your full NBA breakdown of that matchup. And that's a wrap on our Garden preview. Every possession matters. Brunson versus the Wolves' wall of defense. Towns versus Gobert in the paint. This is where games turn. The Wolves are out to prove they can win without their star. The Knicks just want to keep protecting their house. So tune in, lock in, and as always, keep your eyes on the prize. Before we go, think on this. From an 8-time All-Star and a 7-time Silver Slugger awardee and 6-time Gold Glove recipient, the LA Dodgers' Mookie Betts once said, "It's about doing your job every single day, not just when it's convenient. That's how you earn respect." And with that, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow on the Scorecard, where sports is our business and business is our sport on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. This is Anton Roxas. Have a blessed evening, everybody. Good night.